Life in China with Patrick. Hope you guys are doing well. If you're new to this channel or if you're just stopping by, I'm an American expat living in Chongqing, China. I've been here for over 4.5 years, have a Chinese wife, 2 children here. I've got one son in the United States and a lot of family members and friends in the United States. I've got some great in-laws here too. I had a couple of people reach out to me, old high school friends who I hadn't talked to in years. I had even some family members reach out to me and say, "Hey, this spy balloon thing. How are you feeling? You feeling safe there? What are your thoughts? I'd like to get your 2 cents." So here's my 2 cents on what I think is going on, but more importantly, what I think needs to be done. If we can rise above all this muddy water crap that's going on in the United States, I think we need to see this from a much higher elevation to be able to, number one, keep our sanity, but also prevent a possible altercation with China or even Russia. Two things. It's either a weather balloon that got caught off, that was pushed off course. I don't know if you know this, but in the United States, well, in the world, the jet stream's been acting really funky, and that's why y'all are getting all that cold weather. It's going down a little bit further than it normally has in the past. So there's a possibility that weather balloon could have been caught off course. But let's say it's a spy balloon. First of all, I'll say this. If the Pentagon has a press conference and says it's a spy balloon, I probably won't believe them. We've been lied to by the Pentagon. We've been lied to by our politicians. We've been lied to by our government, and we've been lied to, and they've used the media as that platform to lie to us. I mean, how often have you said to yourself, "I'll watch CNN, I'll watch Fox News, and hopefully I can find the truth somewhere in the middle"? It seems nowadays you just can't do that because each one has their own narrative. The Republicans have their narrative, the Democrats have their narrative, and the people that are getting confused or being misled are the American people. So, spy balloon. If it is a spy balloon, it's part of the spy game. Let's talk about the United States. United States has over 700 military bases around the world, and a lot of those bases happen to be around China. That makes them feel nervous. We sail our Navy ships in outside in their international waters, very close to their country. We sail them through the Taiwan Straits, almost taunting them. They're feeling nervous. We have satellites that are monitoring them 24/7. They're feeling nervous. We have the U-2 spy program, which came out like in the late 50s, early 60s. These planes can fly at 70,000 feet over a country and take pictures. There was some article that said that the United States ended the flyovers in China back in the 60s. But again, that goes back to the media, to believing the Pentagon. Do you believe them? If we have these planes, we're probably using them to spy on China. Our media, the news on China, is literally constantly berating this country. So when you consider all these things that have happened, and it's not just recently. I mean, you've got politicians too going to Taiwan and making the situation worse. I mean, it's a very sensitive situation between Taiwan, China, and the United States, and we just make it worse by sending politicians there. So we've got all this stuff going on, a serious decade of, I think, misinformation, propaganda about this country. China does the same thing about us, that makes them feel nervous. So if it's a spy balloon, just keep this in mind, it's probably part of the spy game, and they just got caught with it. Is it right? No, it's not right. Is it right that we fly U-2 spy planes over China? No, I don't think it's right for us to be doing it. The reaction of the United States, the reaction of the government and the media regarding the spy balloon, I mean, it went out of control. It was like a 14-year-old throwing a temper tantrum as if they had been told they can't go out on Friday night. But that whole reaction may just be part of the spy game. There's something deeper that's going on with this, and I can't figure it out. I personally don't think it's a spy balloon. I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong and maybe have to upload another video that shows a correction, but I don't think it is. But the thing is, we'll never know because I don't believe what our government's telling us. So all of this stuff that I've talked about, we need to see it from a higher altitude. We need to see that this game ain't working. This spy game ain't working. And what needs to happen is we need the United States and China, we need to be sending politicians to each other's respective country. Not just for a couple of days, not just for a couple of weeks, but we need to have people living here for an extended period, several months at minimum. Because what happens when you live in another country and experience another culture, you figure out that these people are human. They have children, they have families, they have the same struggles that they do in the United States and the same struggles that they do in China. They have the same goals. They want to have a nice house. They want to be able to have a nice dinner with their family every week. They want to be able to buy groceries without it being sky high in price. We all want to do the same thing. And I think seeing at a grassroots level what another culture is like will change perspective. It'll change attitudes. And I think there's more of a possibility of peace that can happen. I see all the time, the United States bashing China and the Communist Party. Yeah, they haven't been perfect, and the United States government hasn't been perfect. But so there's like 92 million communists, people that are in the party. And I can tell you the majority of them, they don't want war. And the majority of people in the United States, they don't want war. There are a lot of military people. There are a lot of military corporations that wouldn't mind war, which is sad that, like in the United States, how much the military industrial complex drives decisions in Washington and how it controls politicians. And I'm sure the same thing here in China happens. We have progressed so far from an intellectual standpoint, a technological standpoint. We've mapped the human genome. We've come out with this blockchain technology, which is going to revolutionize the way that we live, the way that finances run, the way that many different businesses are run, our industries are run. We've come out with AI technology. We've come out with all these great things. We're very smart, and it's all a head thing. It's all a head thing. The heart thing is not there. We still have the heart of cavemen, where we feel like we've got to bash, we've got to gossip, we've got to suppress, we've got to conquer some country to prove that we're great. You see that all the time, this whole competitive thing. There's nothing wrong with friendly competition, but the competition that the United States says, we got to be number one, we got to be number one. It's just, to me, such an old idea. I think we're on the same planet. We all need to be number one. We all need to pursue peace. You've heard me say this before. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, pursue peace at all cost. And the Aramaic, maybe it's Greek translation, says, pursue peace at all costs. In the picture, the translation paints this picture of a person running after peace. And I don't see people running after peace. I don't see politicians in the United States running after peace. I will say, I believe there are a lot of politicians in China that have been extending that olive branch. And that olive branch, the United States is constantly giving us the Heisman with the olive branch. It's like we have our own self-centered agenda that is leading us to a very dangerous situation between the United States and China and Russia. And we need to pursue peace. The American people need to rise up and stop what is going on. Vote. Some people may say, well, the voting system's messed up. Well, I kind of agree with you on that. Not that I'm a Trump fan. I wasn't a big Trump fan, and I'm not a Biden fan, but something needs to happen. These people need to be voted out of office. The second thing that needs to happen is we need to find out who the donors are to every single politician. And these companies, these organizations, these individuals that are donating money to these politicians for motives that are against what really the Constitution was put together for, what's against the safety of Americans, what's against, an, an, a unified global effort to bring about peace. You need to cut it off. You need to cut that cord and make sure that you're not buying their products. You need to make sure that you're not supporting these companies in any way, so that funding dries up to those politicians. And when that funding dries up to those politicians, maybe it'll change some attitudes. Maybe it'll change some of their approaches. That's what needs to happen. Otherwise, I mean, I've got a 3-year, 2-year, 2.5-year-old. I've got a 9-year-old. I've got a son in America. I've got family in America. And I keep having, I'm not saying that I'm worrying about this too much, but just the way things are progressing between the United States and Russia, how much we've meddled in Ukraine. And if you really need to research what's going on, and we instigated a lot of this stuff in Russia, and the stuff that we're instigating in China is going to lead us to a very bad ending if the American public doesn't do something, stand against what's going on in the media and who is supporting our politicians. We need to change their mind. And when you change their pocketbook, when you empty out their pocketbook, when you empty out the support, it's going to change the way they think. Hopefully they'll be voted out of office. Maybe it'll be one of those things where you dry up the pocketbook and then you vote them out. So when the people coming in to replace them, they say, okay, we're not going to do this. We're going to pursue peace at all costs. So occasionally I'll do what I call my Jerry Maguire speech. That is my Jerry Maguire speech. I have a family. I don't want to go to war. I don't. I'm 53. I couldn't fight. I got a bad back, and I can't. I couldn't lift a gun if I had to. So please, please do something. Stop the madness. All right? That's it.